We'll start out with some opening comments from Coach.
All right, thanks, Dave. Obviously, happy for our guys to be able to get on the home floor here a little bit and as I've talked to the team about, there's a lot of firsts that happened in terms of red, white, close scrimmage this game tonight. But it was good to get out and play and see some different combinations. I like the way we played for the most part, other than the shooting line, which we'll shoot it better. But they did some good things. That we shared the ball pretty well. For the most part, it didn't get sloppy, but sometimes these games can when the score gets a little lopsided. But it was good for Crosse too, and obviously good for us to run around and guard some of that stuff. But it was a completely different look than what Iowa State gave us in terms of dribble penetration and a lot of ball screens and those things that we saw Saturday. Tonight it was more off-ball defensive discipline and techniques were challenged. So we jumped right into deep water, obviously Tuesday night with St. Mary's, and we're looking forward to it. Take any questions?
Greg, I think you've been asked about Aleem becoming more aggressive, but what about Kobe? I mean, it appears now that he's completely comfortable with that knee, and maybe we're going to see the player that maybe you saw in high school and recruited here.
Yeah, I think it's part of the natural maturation process, regardless of the injury. That it just takes a while. It's a big step, you know. It's a high level, so it's good to see that he's confident, and he's had the whole off season to prepare. Where a year ago he didn't. He sat out most of the spring, and the summer was really is very limited in terms of what he did a year ago. You know, from April on, he's been in full preparation mode for this coming season. So, and also the opportunities there for him too. You know, with Khalil Platt graduating at that position or on the wing, but you know, Kobe's worked. You know, Kobe's improved his game, improved his body. So it's good to see him, you know, stepping up, and he's had a good off season and a good preseason. And, he's ready for his opportunity.
Go ahead.
Great. I know you talked Monday, but any update on Micah's status?
Yeah, we are. We have requested as of late this afternoon or tonight. We have requested a trying to get the right terminology here. A telephonic hearing with the Legislative Relief Committee that it had gone to the second time, or after the staff had denied it. So we have learned that that is a part of the process now, that where Micah, his representation, our institution, and the NCAA staff can all be on a phone call with the 7-member committee. And we want to give Micah an opportunity, or we really feel strongly that Micah should have an opportunity to state his case verbally to the committee, each of those people individually. Obviously they'll be on a conference call if it's granted. The chair of the committee has to make the decision whether they grant the telephone hearing or not. And there's also they have 10 days to convene or get that quorum together. So it's not like something will happen tomorrow, or there's no deadline other than the 10 days. But it could happen, you know, early next week. It could happen late next week, or it could not happen. It could happen in 2 weeks. You know, it just went in later today or earlier today. So that's the next step that we're at right now in terms of what we feel is right, and you've heard me talk about it before, and the right thing to do. I mean, the kid's going to graduate here this spring. He's going to be in grad school next year. He's done everything we've asked of him. He hasn't played in a year. I see all these other waivers being approved where guys played last year. I know circumstances vary from player to player and from student athlete to student athlete, but hopefully with Micah and his representation in our university being able to really state the case and why we feel he should be eligible immediately, and they can hear that directly from the student athlete themselves. We're in a day and age when they're changing so much for student athlete welfare. This is a very simple thing that, you know, this last week the NCAA did a lot with name, image and likeness. The problem is that's not going to be really come to surface for 2 to 3 years. That's going to be in court and get volleyball all over the place. Micah Potter's got 18 months left in his college career, and the hands of time, so to speak, are ticking. And it's not, I don't feel it's right to have him continue to wait, when the timeline anyway is such a small window that these young men have to play. They've got eight semesters to compete. And if he gets one taken away, he's already sat out a whole year. If he gets one taken away, he loses 1/8 of his whole career in just by sitting. So, like I said, I could go on all night, but you guys kind of move on to other questions. Jeff?
Actually, to clarify and follow up, this committee, this is not the committee that originally decided this matter, correct?
There's the NCAA staff, and then there's the Legislative Relief Committee, and it's going back to that committee, or that's a request that it goes back to that in a telephone hearing.
And I just want to double check, when we asked you Monday, what's the next step if you get a negative answer? Is this request the legislative, because you got a negative answer?
It's part of it. The negative answer was more on the rationale of why they were why they were denying it.
So sometime between Monday and today, you got a response?
Correct. But also we had known we learned of the telephone hearing opportunity before we got the second rationale back. So now we feel that's right and, part of the due process that Micah should be allowed to speak his case to the committee.
Are you allowed to publicly share the rationale?
No, I don't think I am. I don't know it off the top of my head anyway, but that's for compliance and administration.
Chip in the back, coach.
Greg, I know you probably thought you were done talking about free throws or missed free throws, but I think you had 26 attempts in the Iowa State game too, and 26 tonight. Is that the more important number to you? Are you getting into the line as much as you hope?
Well, you can always try to get there more. Yes, we want to get there. Do I have a set number? If we can be in the 20s, that's good. Depends on number of possessions, there's a lot of variables that go into it to impact that. Depends on what teams are giving up. But if you can be in the mid-20s, that's pretty good. And we shot it relatively well against Iowa State, and we'll shoot it well. And you got a 90% free throw shooter going 1 for 4 or whatever, Brad, so he'll shoot it better, as well as everybody else. Good part is that we're getting there. That's step one.
Any more questions for Coach?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.